Welcome to the VERAfied Podcast. This is our latest episode. VERAfied. It's all about people telling the truth, and we've got the greatest truth purveyors ever. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Chief, Frank Arriola, and we have the MMA Superstar turned instructor, teacher. You know, he's just our brother, Brandon, the Truth, Vera. What's up, B?
Thank you, Queer Jay. I'm good. How are you doing? Good to see you, Steve. Yeah, man.
Good to see you guys once again.
Yes,
nice to be back.
Got to give a shout out to our brother Kyle up in the Northern Marianas doing the production. It's a beautiful thing about this, right, guys? I mean, we're all in different places, but we can still reach our audience.
No. Merry Christmas, by the way. I know we're early, but Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Or, as my nephew Atreyu says, Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Yeah.
That's right. All right, guys, we have it is a packed show today. So I'm calling this episode, it's a post-election episode. I see red, people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to get right down to the truth. Okay. B.
Yes, sir.
Chief.
Yo, let's go.
Talk about this. The red wave. Tell me about the red wave. Republicans for the win.
And you know, not just the red wave. It's literally just blue cities left. It's only blue cities left. There's no more blue states. There's no more. It's all red now. You say red wave, it's everywhere. If you break it down per precinct and how everybody's voting, there's only blue cities and blue towns.
So, Brandon, if I could ask you, did you anticipate this?
No, because, you know, it's the media machine that the whole world was up against, and superstars and pop stars and the culture and the icons. And they did it last time, 2020. Midnight fight. Boop. They did it last time. So I didn't know how it was going to go. But believing in the system that is in place and believing that people are watching and believing that there was lawyers and boots on the ground at every precinct around the entire mainland, I'm glad it ended up the way it did. I'm very glad it ended up the way it did. And the American people have spoken. And I think it's a breath of fresh air for the entire world, because this is the last place. This is the last freedom. This is the last place that you can still talk smack, be wrong, and not go to jail.
Absolutely. And we know that our friends on the other side were very wrong. Chief, you and I talked about this, and I think Brandon alluded to it. We talked about the red wave the last time, and we were excited about it. And then there was no red wave. Well, this one, not only red wave across the nation, but even on Guam, certainly a mandate of the people, Chief.
Oh, 100%. And based on what the way Brandon described it, I agree with him 100% on everything that he said. The pop stars, mainstream media, big tech, were all in the pockets, right? They're all paid for and delivered by the DNC machine, etc. Kamala Harris raised what, $1.x billion, spent it all, $20 million in debt, and still lost. And that was the one concern that I had. You asked Brandon the question, did he see it coming? In my heart of hearts, my concern was, do enough Americans like Brandon and myself, and yourself, John, were there enough of us who saw the charade, right? And clearly the numbers have spoken that the American people saw right through the entire charade. And really, Donald Trump, you asked about the 2022 red wave that never really transpired, right? Well, it was just starting to get going. But when Donald Trump entered the race, he was the guy who took it to that next level, right? Everyone followed the leader. I mean, really, that's what it was. And like Brandon, I'm very pleased that Donald Trump won, and won convincingly, because a good buddy of ours asked me, Frank, what do you think? I said, I think Donald Trump's going to win in a landslide. And it was for all the reasons that Brandon mentioned, right? Everyone started, when they started to peel the onion, the layers off the onion, right? And we're like, oh my God, look at this, right? And so despite big tech, despite media, despite the weaponization of the federal government, the American, and certainly it didn't help that the transition between Joe Biden to Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris being a really awful candidate, that all was just, it was just icing on that proverbial cake, so to speak. And the American people have spoken, and I'm very pleased about where we're at today. No question.
Awesome. You are listening and watching the VERAfied Podcast. I'm John Mafnas. I'm the host. We have Brandon, the Truth Vera, and we have Chief Frank Arriola. Chief, I did start this off asking Brandon, did he see this coming? I want to ask both of you, do you think that the Democrats, and let's talk specifically Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and their team, did they see this coming? Did they know that they not only were going to lose, but they were going to be trounced on by a pair of stompers with steel toe and, you know, maybe a battleship as the soul? I mean, what did they see this coming?
Johnny, that's an easy slam dunk question. They 100 million, 1,000,000,000% knew it was coming. 100,000. If they were honest with themselves, and I think the upper echelon absolutely knew what was coming down. Their numbers told them Kamala's going to get killed. She's going to get crushed. And you kind of saw it. You know, we talk about the mainstream media and their slanted news. Well, we've all known for the past 10 years, at least, since Barack Obama's time, that the mainstream media has been in the pocket of the Democrats. Okay, fine. So all their stories were all slanted, pro-Democrat. Okay, fine. And certainly anti-Trump, anti-DNC. Anti-RNC. So the polls should be, if you're a critical thinker, the polls should reflect the exact same thing. And they did. Oh, it's neck and neck. Oh, it's too tight to call, etc. When they said that, I just knew. I just said bullshit. No way. Those polls are paid for. You know, Washington Post, New York Times polls, CNN, all those mainstream media sponsored polls. They were all fake news. Just like Donald Trump called it, number one. Number two, more importantly, and my nephew asked me, hey, Uncle Frank, man, so why'd you call Donald Trump to win? I said, the real reason why, other than all these other things that we've spoken about already, is I looked at the betting market. And the betting market was 60 to 65, 35, 40, right? Donald Trump's favor. When I saw that number, I just said, it verified, it validated what I was thinking, right? That Donald Trump is going to smoke her. And sure enough, Electoral College, popular vote, 7 swing states, he crushed her. And that was a landslide in my book.
B, I think Chief makes a good point. When you see where people are putting their bets on their hard-earned dollar, I mean, that's probably safer, not probably safer. It ended up being an absolute crystal ball compared to the mainstream surveys.
Correct. You know, people love
You're
substance.
not going to waste that dollar, you know?
Yeah. People of substance put their money where their mouth is. So, yeah, absolutely correct. Why would you throw money away? So they knew Trump was winning. I think, honestly, I believe the DNC and their weirdo minds, they were thinking that a unicorn was going to happen, just like Joe Biden 2020. They were holding out to the last second, right before she was going to have to walk on the stage and admit defeat. I think they were holding on for a unicorn moment again. But yeah.
Can I add something? You know, Brandon and you also went back to the 2020 election, and I wanted to share something. In 2020, Joe Biden, the lesser of two evils, the guy with all the Washington, D.C. experience, etc. Now, Donald Trump, in this landslide where he really mobilized half of the country to vote red, got 77 million votes. In 2020, at the height of the COVID component, the basement strategy, etc., Joe Biden got 81 million votes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And again, Donald, if you talk to Donald Trump, and he's talking to all his people, and they're like, I can't believe this guy got 81 million votes. Well, yeah, because he probably didn't. Stuff ballot boxes and other things.
Correct.
And that's why Donald Trump was so pissed off during the January 2021 the J6 issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, how the hell could this guy get that many votes? I mean, it was, it was an incredible number, right?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris doing the best that she could. What could she muster? Just a little over 70 million votes, right? So, if that, right? So that's a huge delta, right? And Joe Biden was in a basement. So you have to ask yourself that question, right? And okay, granted, that's water under the bridge, but skillful thinkers are gonna bookmark that. Like, okay. And Brandon, you mentioned it. The RNC mobilized, I think, 500 attorneys throughout the country to keep an eye on the polls. And you notice there wasn't a lot of what do you call it, challenges to unregistered voters. There was a couple up front, right, during the open the pre-election voting period, right? There was a couple up front, but once the Democrats knew that the Republicans were watching, that crap went to it was done.
The game was over.
It wasn't going to happen. Kamala Harris is not going to get 81 million votes, because if you do the math, technically she really should have gotten at least 80 million votes, right? All things considered, right? But she didn't. And to the RNC's credit, and I credit Laura Trump, Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, who was really on it hard. I mean, she was on it, and she ran a great shot along with Governor Watley from North Carolina.
B, you're gonna love this next segment. It's called "Pardon Me, Daddy." Joe Biden pardons Hunter. B, we could probably do a whole show, maybe a whole season on you going off. So let's start with you. How do you feel? Hunter completely exonerated.
Man, there's some common sense things that are really bugging me. And I really hope, I'm going to make 2 points here. First point, Schlep Biden can pardon whoever he wants, however he wants. But the difference is now that the people know. Before, when President pardoned people, no one really knew what was going on or what was it about or why, or people would have guesses. But now, everyone knows exactly why Hunter got pardoned. Fauci is asking for a pardon. Mayorkas is asking for a pardon. So it's showing its own self. That point being said, that the people know, the people ain't gonna forgive you. So karma is a mother trucker that's gonna hit that hard this time around. I think when people start to figure this out into the general pop and the masses get a hold of this, let karma do its thing. It'll figure itself out. The thing that's killing me about this pardon thing that nobody's talking about is, they're just giving him. The pardon is supposed to be for crimes that you've been charged for and tried, right? Like you need to be pardoned from a crime. Like you have to be pardoned from a crime or some crimes. Man, he just threw a date out there and said anything from here to tomorrow. And then some people are literally okay with that. And that's what's crazy to me. That's not okay, man. I don't care if they're president or not. That pardon should be invalid. That's not a pardon. that's something else. That's not a pardon, man. I don't know what to call it. So I'm gonna pass it to Chief and let him deal with this mess. I'm sorry, Chief. I made a mess.
No. You know, Brandon, because it is a mess, and you didn't make it a mess. They did, right? I mean, the whole thing is a disaster now. And you're right. Joe Biden pardoned his son, and I think everyone saw that coming. So okay, fine. And it's interesting, all the analysts are saying, well, it's because of I think it's January 2014 till today and everything in between. Well, that's when Joe Biden was the vice president. That's when all this Burisma bull crap was going on, et cetera, et cetera. So basically what Joe Biden is doing, and he has to pardon not only Hunter Biden, expect his brother James Biden and maybe a couple of his other children or maybe even his wife,
that
Joe Biden.
brother,
Just
brother's
because they all knew, they were all in on it, right? So that's number one. Number two, I never heard about Fauci or who's the other guy Mayorkas
Mayorkas.
asking for a pardon, but it wouldn't shock me that they would. But you can't pardon someone who hasn't committed a crime or convicted of one, right? So it's projection. They're telling you, hey, shit, I can be in some deep trouble.
What the hell, man?
And they will be, certainly. But here's the thing that I'm really torn, and I know Donald Trump is too, and certainly Donald Trump's supporters. Donald Trump, I just saw a story, said that in his inauguration speech, he's going to talk about unity, bringing the country together, right? But we cannot confuse unity with having justice served, right? I'm not sure. Well, Fauci lied in a number of different cases. That Mayorkas guy, I'm telling you, that homeboy, he should be tried for crimes against the country.
Reason.
Yeah, that whole border problem, and I'm afraid what's going to happen is Donald Trump and his new cabinet, they're going to have some really difficult times. The country of America is going to go through some really tough times in rooting out all of these illegal aliens who should not be in America. Number one. Number two, as they're pulling them out, there's going to be a lot of activity that's going to negatively impact legitimate United States of America citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And that concerns me, and it certainly pains me, literally, just because this shit shouldn't be happening. But because of Mayorkas, that lion sack of, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just no good, man.
Yeah.
Kids are getting raped. They're serving as prostitutes to pedophiles. Tren de Aragua, MS-13, these guys are all taking over cities and towns and apartment buildings, and Democrats are okay with it? No, there needs to be some soul searching. But Donald Trump, his people are gonna get to work, including my boy Tom Homan and Governor Kristi Noem. Anyway.
I tell you what scares me, Kuya, Chief. So, did you guys ever watch the Minority Report? I
think I watched it. It's got a
older movie.
In my opinion, Steven Spielberg's best film, right? And obviously not one of his more popular ones, but the whole movie centers around pre-crime. If you thought of crime, you can be put in jail. Well, to me, that's what's happening right now. There are going to be blanket pardons that are going to be given out to their friends. You mentioned Mayorkas. We're talking about Fauci.
Yeah.
How many Bidens? But what happens if some woke socialist says, moving forward, for every illegal immigrant coming through, we're going to blanket those coming through. So,
and John, that's the problem. And everyone's saying the precedent is horrible. The precedent, the precedent of Joe Biden potentially pardoning Fauci or Mayorkas, that's just backwards ass thinking. First of all, to even consider it. Why do I need to do that? Oh, because the Republicans are coming for you. What if you committed a crime, dumbass? And then they're gonna come after you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have nothing to worry about, like look at Pete Buttigieg over at transportation. Yeah, he was breastfeeding his son or whatever with a little fake breast thingy. Okay, big deal. I don't think the homeboy committed a crime, right? Mayorkas is different. Fauci is different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my
passion, guys.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the VERAfied Podcast. This is our post-election episode. I see red, people. There's a red wave coming. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Donald Trump. This segment's called I Love What You've Done with the Cabinet. All right. Let's start with you. Actually, you guys can junk and Poe. B, Chief.
Chief first, please.
Okay. Who stands out?
Man.
From his appointees?
Yes.
All of them.
I know a lot
Yeah.
of them are superstars, but who's the one where you just go, oh,
I can only say one. I can only say one.
Jeez.
unless they're
Okay.
a team.
Okay, no. I'll say
The
one
whole
because
Jordan.
If you wink, wink. Yeah.
no, I'll tell you what was a oh shoot, man. Well, I can't just pick one. Sorry, but I'll start with his appointment, and this is a little biased. His appointment of his chief of staff, Susie Wiles. I've never heard of this woman until the RNC when he actually called her up to the stage and introduced her. I'm like, oh, okay.
Frank,
So
she's been under the radar
she's-
for a long time.
Exactly. She's the campaign manager. I said, oh wow, that is cool. And she happens to be the daughter of Hall of Fame broadcaster and Hall of Fame NFL player Pat Summerall, if you remember. Pat Summerall, CBS, John Madden, right? Yeah, so she's a daughter of that guy. So but she's been a political operative. The state of Florida, like Nebraska, Missouri. She ran some pretty heavy duty campaigns, and now is a Trump follower. And now the chief of staff. And for Donald Trump, for all the BS he got about he doesn't like intelligent women around him. Well, shit, he just named his chief of staff, the campaign manager, his chief of staff. So I forget who was the politician who said that. Oh, God, which guy said that? He doesn't like intelligent women around him. What
Was it Shift?
was it? Shifty Shift?
I think it was
I forget
Shift,
who it was.
think.
I don't know
Was it-
if he said it first, but I do remember that Kamala's running mate. God, see, he's already just fell off my radar.
Tim Walz. Tim Walz.
Tim Walz also said that he was he wanted to
Yeah.
emphasize
It was some other
by strong
big,
women.
yeah, it was some other big Democrat. I just forget who it was. Anyway, and I forget because he doesn't. He's irrelevant at this point. But Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, because now she has to help Donald Trump get all these guys in together. But I think the guys who are really important to me are Kristi Noem and Tom Homan, the border people. I think those guys, and then of course the law enforcement, Kash Patel at FBI, John Radcliffe at the CIA, and then of course the State Department guy, Marco Rubio, and then you got to throw in the DOD guy, Pete Hegseth. These guys are all alpha go-getters, and they're all going to not destroy the Washington D.C. Trump, but really be a disruptive force, because that's what the country needs. All our ailments really stem from a deep state, a bloated government bureaucracy in Washington D.C. And these guys are from outside looking in. They're going to disrupt the area, and I think it'd be good for the country. They talk about like a market reset, right? This is going to be a government reset. The government hardly goes through any kinds of reset, right? I think Newt Gingrich did that in '94. Okay, Ronald Reagan, and so now it's Donald Trump's turn. And if you look at his picks, that's what all these guys are. They're a bunch of disruptors.
B, when I first put this together, and I already knew. I said, I'm just going to throw it out there, but I'm going to lose. I'm going to ask Chief for just one, but
Yeah.
I lost that quick. B,
They're all, because man, every single one of his picks are literal Michael Jordans and John Wayne's. They come in, they're coming to kick ass and take names. They're ready to get stuff done. Every single one. My absolute most favorite. I don't know if he counts as a cabinet member, but the Robert Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, HHS.
HHS.
Health and Human Services. Yeah.
I'm a fan because I've been an athlete my whole entire life. I've been watching how people try to eat, what they try to do. But unless you have the money, the time, and the resources to do the things that you should be doing and avoiding the American diet, it's very, very hard. I'm a huge fan that he's going to come in and the FDA is already talking about banning dyes now, color additives already. He's not even in there yet. I'm a fan because he is literally, man, aside from him having a 4-pack or a 6-pack and being able to do 100 push-ups at his age, he's going to help ensure the betterment and future of our country from inside our homes. And I think that's a big security, because if you don't have all this junk, all this stuff that's causing diabetes, all this stuff in your food that's causing Alzheimer's, that's causing dementia, you don't have all this free radicals in our foods or shit in our meat and stuff like that, man, America's going to be a way better place. The only way I could describe it is every time I met somebody overseas who came from America, they would tell me stuff like, I eat bread every day, I eat pasta every day, I eat whatever the hell I want here every day, and I'm losing weight. Why? I said, man, because for me, I've known for a long time, because I haven't been there. I don't eat that kind of stuff. But when people realize it themselves, it's a beautiful thing. Now we have somebody in place that's going to teach the entire America about it. So I'm a fan. I'm a super huge fan. And I think that's what's going to help boost morale. We're not going to have so many mentally disturbed people anymore. I think people's hormones will start to balance out, and now we can get back on track on being a great country again.
B, powerful choice. Very powerful choice. Okay.
Great points, B. Great points.
Next segment. And why don't we go ahead and start? Let's start with you, Kuya.
Uh-oh.
President Trump ride Pete Hegseth all as far as he can go, or should he pull him and nominate Ron DeSantis as the defense secretary?
Man, that guy's a fighter. Run him. Run that dude until he doesn't want to do it no more. Like that
the
guy,
wheel fall off, huh?
Man, when his answer to that, I don't answer to anybody else. I don't answer to you. I don't answer to I don't answer. I answer to my wife and to God. I was like, oh my God. He's good. Let him cook. Let him cook. Let him work.
Yeah.
Let him marinate. Let him be in the public eye. Yeah, I like him.
I see the nods. You're in agreement with Brandon?
Oh yeah, 100%. And for a number of reasons. I think Hegseth, he's a warrior. He's a combat veteran.
Yes, sir.
Right?
A bunch of combat veterans. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a combat veteran. He's not just a veteran, he's a combat veteran, right? He's seen action, right? He's a Princeton guy. He played on the Princeton basketball team. He got a master's degree from Harvard, but gave it back after all this woke shit came to notice. He gave it back. He sent them back his Harvard degree. Yeah. So that tells you A, what kind of a guy that he is, and B, what kind of a danger he is to the current swamp of Washington, D.C. He's a danger to them. That's why they're coming at him so hard. And they'll make shit up. I'm hearing all these people talk about it. And they're going after him pretty hard. But the most important reason why, and those are obviously very, very important reasons why that Donald Trump should stick with him. But just as importantly is he cannot give up the fight, because if Hegseth goes down, they're going to go after Tulsi Gabbard. They're going to go after RFK. They're going to go after everybody else down the line, because the swamp thinks that they can win. I was really disappointed that Matt Gaetz dropped out of the AG run. But thankfully, and this speaks to both Pam Bondi and Ron DeSantis, the Republican bench is deep. It's a very, very, very deep bench. They got talent all over the place. And guys are just lining up, man. Hey, I'm right here when you're ready.
I've been waiting.
Yeah.
Love it, guys. Okay, we're going to have a little fun right now.
Okay, I'm having fun already, John. I'm having fun already.
I miss you guys, man.
Two of you always having fun. I'm always having a good time. Kyle, I hope you're having fun up north. Okay, here we go. We're going to play a little bit. This is called Better Name. Kuya, better name, Kash Patel or Tulsi Gabbard?
Man, both names are badass. Like, you can't beat Cash.
Yeah.
And then
Cash
Patel.
You just can't beat Cash.
Dude, and then, so literally, I think his name translates to Money Hotels. I think that's what his name translates to. Cash Patel. I think that's.
And you know what, B?
That's
even
cold.
if it doesn't,
That's
our story. All right.
You know, can I interrupt on that note?
Absolutely.
I go on like NBC News, and I kind of troll people. I really do, just to see what Americans are saying. And I made some kind of a comment. Someone made a comment about, Kash Patel, you should go back and go in the hotel business, right? I said, hey, man, that's kind of a racist, stereotypical kind of a comment. And somebody corrected me and said, hey, no, man, the Patel family is well known to be hoteliers in the country, in America, right? Like,
right.
oh, Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Learn something every day.
Yeah, but
Okay,
cash money.
better name, Vivek or Elon?
Dude, that's a good one. You
Oh
go,
my
Chief.
gosh! Wow. Just the name alone, right? How it's
Yeah.
spelled and how it sounds.
Yeah, just the sound.
I love them both, but I got to go with Vivek Ramaswamy. I mean,
Vivek,
that's a lot of syllables there, bro.
You throw in his last name too, right? It just
Yeah, oh, you have to, because, and then the other thing, hopefully it'll desensitize people who call all white people racist, right? I mean, Donald Trump hired an Indian guy, a guy named Vivek Ramaswamy, and he didn't hire him because he's Indian. He hired him because the dude's smart and he's successful, just like Elon Musk, right? So there you have it. He's not a racist anymore, guys. Believe me when I tell you this.
okay. Starting back with you, Chief. Likely to become a stronger Trump ally, Marco Rubio or Robert Kennedy? Remember, both of these guys at one point,
okay. Yeah.
they were enemies. So got them on the team, but who not only doesn't defect, but becomes a lifelong Trump ally.
Well, I will say this, to go back to B's original comments about Robert F. Kennedy. And I remember telling my kids, I said, listen, just keep an eye on Robert Kennedy Jr. Just keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on what he says. He's a well-studied, he's a smart guy. I think he's Harvard and Yale and all that crap too, right? He's all of that, right? Ivy League stuff, right? But he's going to talk about all these things that are in your food that are bad for you. So keep an eye on him. But I think that, and I'll forever be grateful, because I think a lot of my ailments are because of all the crap that I've been eating all my life, number one, then all these medicines that I'm taking now. Anyway, we'll get to that later. But I think Marco Rubio, I was actually hoping that Marco Rubio would be Donald Trump's pick as vice president, because that also talked about quite a bit about, Donald Trump being a racist, right? So you pick a Cuban American who happens to be highly, highly, highly regarded in the United States Senate as a very deliberative guy, a thoughtful thinker, someone who thinks very carefully before he casts a vote or makes decisions, right? But he strikes me as a loyal individual that once he gets going, and he's got the state now, right? So Marco Rubio's got a big. I think what's also important is not so much who's going to be a big ally to Donald Trump, but how Donald Trump has taken his former adversaries and has now said, "Oh, come on into the cabinet. Let's go. Let's rock and roll." Remember, Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat running in the Democratic primary a few years ago, right? And she's in the cabinet, right? So there's a lot of these guys who weren't always, Donald Trump sycophants and are now, hey, let's go. And because all these guys share the same thing, and that is, let's make America great again, just as I do and Brandon and everybody else does. I always tell people, even if a Democrat were to become the president, not now, but in the next election, I wish that person well, because America needs to get better. It needs to heal and get better. But I think that it's going to be Donald Trump and J.D. Vance for 2 terms back to back. Anyway, so Marco Rubio, to answer your question.
I think
B, we talked earlier, you were impressed the most of Donald's incoming cabinet with Robert Kennedy Jr. Is that the guy you think that becomes maybe he's got less aspirations and becomes a Trump ally for a long time?
Yeah, I think so, because I'm not going to say his job simple, but his job is very focused. Like he only has to worry about one thing. And if he can do that, I mean, he'll never have to worry about anything else. And he's always going to be a solid pillar that Trump can rely on. So I don't know one of his closest allies, but he's going to be one of the pillars, one of the strongest foundation pieces that he has. Especially as soon as America starts getting healthy, oh my God, man. Can you imagine what people will start? Yeah. I keep going on and on and on and on, but we spend more money on gym memberships and bullshit inside the supplement stores than any other country. And she actually quit JM by I want to rewind a little bit to what you guys were talking about earlier about he made all of his opponents cabinet members and part of the team. I was thinking about that, man. Like Donald Trump literally is taking pages out of Genghis Khan's style war. Like he's taking his not defeated troops or defeated adversaries, but man, he's taking people that were never friends with him before and putting them in positions of power, man. This is a very big move. It's a very, very, very big move. Sorry, I was just thinking about that.
No, B, and I think you make a good point, because to me, and I think the chief touched on this, it shows Donald Trump's confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any problems aligning myself and surrounding myself on a regular basis by empowering people that at one point were not just opponents, but they were adversarial. You know, some of these guys didn't have nice things to say about Donald Trump. And he's saying, not only that does that not scare me, but I want to take the abilities, the talents, the skills, the knowledge, the education you have. I want to put it to use for America. I think that's a statement. Chief?
Yeah. You know what? The other, in closing this segment, maybe, Elon Musk. We haven't talked so much about him, but you know, I'm still stunned by the rocket landing right where it should be. And think about it, right? He was able to have his rocket come back into the orbit and land into the scissors thing, right? Whereas NASA, who's got $800 jillion for the last 85 years, those capsules fell into the ocean where we have to go get the damn thing, right? It's kind of,
it's just kind of on the way up.
Yeah, it just kind of tells you, oh, okay. So anyway, Elon Musk right now with his X is technically a competitor to Donald Trump's Truth Social, a competitor. Think about that. He's actually got a competitor where money is made, and now he's running probably the Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah. So that should tell you, Brandon, to your point, he's getting the best of the best alphas, bringing them to his orbit. He knows who's the big boy in the room, and it's him, right? Yep. Everybody else, let's get it together and let's get to work. So I think that's a very symbolic of Donald Trump's thought process currently right now today.
Great points, B. Chief. All right, here's the thing that just drives me crazy, because we have such a good time and these are amazing. We're actually coming down to the last two segments. I mean, that's how we move, because we're having so much fun. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. You are tuned in to the VERAfied Podcast. This is a post-election episode. I see red, people.
Hey, the truth. Thank you, TRUTH Apparel. Let's go.
We've got Brandon, the Truth, Vera, MMA Superstar, just a superb guy. And we got the Chief, Frank Arriola. I don't know why they put the keys in my hands, but they're
regular dude.
I'm John Mafnas. And we got Kyle Hokog handling all the production for us. Thank you so much. All right, gentlemen, we're going to shift this to a little bit of local flair, but still kind of staying on the President Donald Trump.
Let's do local, 100%.
Okay. And whoever wants to jump in first, how will Guam benefit the most from having President Donald Trump back at the helm? Safer, better economy? Are we going to, there's word out there that Guam has kind of almost a direct line to the Mexican drug cartels, right? That the meth and fentanyl coming in here comes from those guys. Are we going to see less drugs on the island? And some people on the not so positive side think that DOGE might cut funding for Guam. So what say you, gentlemen?
You want me to go first?
Sure, Chief. Sure.
Okay.
Yes,
the first thing, foreign policy would be the first thing that comes to my mind when you ask the question, right? Guam is right in the middle of a military buildup. I look out my window, I can see Camp Loss over there being built up. I mean, the military relocation of the Marines into Guam has kept Guam afloat economically at this point in time, right? Our tourist business is in the toilet. But foreign policy, China, what did I hear today? Xi Jinping commanded his military people by 2027 to be prepared to attack Taiwan, take over Taiwan. Now, that may not happen, but he's put them on alert. You need to be ready by then. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Donald Trump leading the country, I mean, my God, the day after he won the election, I mean, he was already calling people up, dispatching his emissaries, talking about tariffs here, tariffs there. I mean, he's already leading the country as far as I'm concerned, right? Joe Biden, Joe, God bless him, doesn't even know where he is, right? So Donald Trump de facto is the president. He's the sitting president at this point, and that's huge for the island of Guam in terms of fending off the China
Mm-hmm.
push. Number one. Number two, John, you got specific about drugs. Yes, I think there should be some. The cartel is going to be curtailed substantially on the American side, but really the local government of Guam, we have to do a lot better job than what we've done right now. And I go back to, I remember there used to be drug busts at the Port Authority of Guam, and there hasn't been a drug bust at the Port Authority of Guam as long as I can remember, right? And my memory's not that great, but there hasn't been one. And so we can fix that here, right? And we should, this is our border, right? The island of Guam, that's our border. We should be able to handle all the drugs coming into our island, and we have not been as successful as I think we should be. You mentioned DOGE, the Department of Government. Yeah, everyone's a little concerned about that because Vivek and Elon Musk, they're not dumb guys, right? They're going to figure things out.
What do you say you do here every day?
What's that?
Bro, it's from that movie, Chief. Sorry, you were talking about them. It says, what would you say you do here every day?
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. And they're gonna ask the hard questions. So do I see, I don't, I think the DOD is gonna get we're gonna get impacted probably by a little bit there. But I think some of the social programs, the Department of Agricultural programs, I mean, they're probably gonna take some hits, I would imagine. But, I just read an article in today's paper that like 36% of 28 agencies is U.S. funding, right? Which is okay. I think that's okay, but we have to do better with what we have, right? We have to do more with what we have, and like I mentioned, our tourist business. I mean, GVB. I mean, oh my God, they haven't been asleep at the wheel, but they've been sleeping. Well, they've been fighting at the wheel, I guess, is the best way to put it. And I give Carl Gutierrez credit for going out, working with the mayors and sprucing up the villages, right? The product, right? Which is good. That's right. That's admirable. Spreading the wealth. But he forgot to also, get more butts in the seats, right? And that required him to work with the industry people. And he didn't do a good job with that at all. And so we're at what, 36% of pre-pandemic levels. So those numbers don't lie.
It's
anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Go ahead, Bren. Sorry.
No, Chief, and I agree with you. Like we're the third of pre-pandemic levels. We're the third of Guam. I think, along with the rest of the country, is going to go through a lot of hardship before we right the ship. Biden and his team, or the team, the whoever's running DC right now, they're giving money away. They're forgiving loans. They're forgiving Ukraine loans. They're sending more money to Ukraine. They're sending more money to Syria. They're debasing the dollar, they're devaluing the dollar even more. They're just tossing money out. So when Trump gets in office, along with cleaning up the mess that is there already, I think DOGE is going to be going hard. I think we will be impacted on island to a bunch of programs. Like Chief said, though, we'll have to learn how to do more with less. People of the island are used to doing that anyways. But on the flip side of that, President Trump's back in. This military buildup is no joke. I'm in Jigo, and we go down to Agate. We pass all the bases, and there's people working on all the bases. Anderson has started blocking off dead spots so that they can start building more. It's crazy. It's turning into something. The island will be unrecognizable, I say, in about 5 to 8 more years. It'll be something else. So I think,
and you mean that in a positive way, right?
In a positive way. In a positive way. It's going to go through hurt, but I think when it comes out the hurt, it's going to look more and more like Hawaii. That's where I'm seeing this. All of this. That's where it's going.
Okay. Gentlemen.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Down to the last segment.
Sorry, Chief.
We're used to doing these episodes and ending with the top 5. So we're going to continue, and we're going to end this episode with the verified top 5. But it's a collective, right? So the two of you can huddle and figure this out. And you touched on it, B and Frank, but just so that it's real clear to the audience, what top 5 milestones will Americans experience during the first term of the Trump-Vance administration? The biggest, and I know much like the cabinet, right, we could probably go on for days, but just the top 5 immediate impact that President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance will have on the nation.
I like to throw something out there. I think
Go ahead, Chief.
I kind of remember it from my time when Donald Trump, the Trump 45, his 45th tenure. The economy of America is gonna be lit up. It's gonna be lit, and people who have with money. I told this to my kids, right? Put your money in the American stock market and crypto. Brandon, you're a crypto guy. Donald Trump, he's all in on crypto.
He's talking about not paying taxes on crypto gains.
Yeah, how about that, right? His stock market. I was looking at I call them the big 4, right? Apple, Google, Meta, and I think it was Amazon, right? Yeah, and Microsoft, big 5, say. Right, those guys. Since Donald Trump has gone into office, they're already experiencing gains in the 5, 10, 15% gains of their stock price. Already, right? That should tell you what people. That was a gamble. That was a bet. If Donald Trump wins, we're going to make a ton of money. So economically, people are going to be much more well off. And then, of course, it's drill, baby, drill. Energy costs are going to drop down. And we're all going to be better, more disposable income, et cetera, right? And I actually look forward to that. That would be my first one. Ben, you want to give it number 2?
The economy, Chief.
Yeah,
and
for me,
drop in fuel prices,
energy. Yeah.
Man, FYI, regular gas on base right now is $3.11 already.
Yeah.
It's already dropping. It's almost 2 something again. I would say
11. Wow, that's good.
B, you touched on something earlier. You think we're going to be healthier?
Healthier, but even before health, I think along with what Chief is saying, I think confidence, man. People will be proud to be American again. People will be proud to say America, U.S. It's been a while, man. It's been a long while. And I think that is something that is on Inauguration Day. I think that's something that they will immediately give back to the American people without even trying. I think that's just, look, he's not even sitting yet. They're not sitting yet. Chief already said 5%, 10%.
Yeah, it's
fuel
crazy.
prices already dropping. World leaders are already canceling wars. Like, they're all meeting with him already. So the day, and this is stuff that nobody's reporting. This is stuff that we know because we find out about it. We're looking for, the day he sits, I think to say I'm an American is going to be a very big deal again.
Yeah. But I would also caution Americans to know that there's a group, and they're large, they're powerful, they're influential, who don't want to see him succeed, right? Who don't want us to succeed, but we'll be successful. And I want to go back, Brandon, you mentioned, we talked about health, and you mentioned the word confidence, right? And you're exactly correct. Those things go hand in hand, and not so much confidence in the sense of braggadocio, but more confidence in themselves as individuals to lead and live a better life, right? I'm really excited about Kennedy doing this thing about educating Americans, right? About stop eating, boxed cereal. I mean, and that's the thing the other point I was gonna make. But having said that, big food and big pharma are gonna come after Robert Kennedy real hard. They've enjoyed decades of prosperity at our expense, right? You poison them with food and then you stick them in the hospitals, and the pharmaceuticals give all the drugs and whatnot, right? It's a nice little money circle, right? And so what he's going to do is he's going to do precisely what Donald Trump did. He's going to peel away the layers of the onion, and I don't expect him to shut down, Kellogg's or General Foods or whatever, right? Or Nestle. What I do expect it to do is shine the light. This is what these guys have been feeding you, and here's the problem, so that we can make our own determination, right? Because again, like I said, big pharma, big food, big agro, they're going to come hard. They're going to come hard to take him out and try to discredit him, et cetera, et cetera. But it's going to be very difficult, especially when you're on the inside. You're the HHS secretary. Oh no, my study says this, my study says that, right, et cetera. So it's going to be a good thing. But John, to your question, I think people will get healthier, and if they don't get healthier, at least they're going to be more cognizant and more aware of what's been transpiring. Just like what Donald Trump did in 2016, 2017, when he took office. He just shed the light on, the lamestream media and big tech suppressing information and the weaponization of the federal government, blah, blah, blah. He's going to do the same thing to the healthcare industry, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Yes. Yes.
So Chief, we're going to be healthier.
Yeah.
We're going to have lower energy costs.
Yep.
We're going to have a much stronger economy.
More money. Yeah, sure.
Opportunities, more money circulating. B, I think you touched on what I think is just so important, and that is we're going to have confidence. We're going to be a prouder nation. But I think also there's a side note to that. We're going to have more confidence in our government. We're going to be able to believe that our government can actually do some things.
Correct.
I think we've been dormant for the last 4 years, right? Just kind of waiting for something to happen. And I'm going to add something to that, gentlemen. As a Chamorro, as a Guamanian, as a guy that lives all the way out here in the Western Pacific, right? I feel safer. I feel safer when Donald Trump is there, because it's one thing when you have the most powerful military. It's another thing when you have the most powerful commander in chief. And so
that's real.
It's scary. And you've often talked about it, Chief, having China in our backyard. But at the end of the day, Chinese don't scare me as much, right? B,
correct.
The Iranians don't scare me as much. North Korea, okay. Rocket Man, kind of a scary dude. Not scary when you have Donald Trump at the helm. So
that's real. That's real.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And he's really demonstrated that, it really amazes me how the country's already gotten confidence, more confident, right, with Donald Trump being elected. I mean, I know a lot of Democrats, and I have a great family, friends who are staunch, diehard Democrats, and I love them dearly. I want them to be successful. But man, they were just wrong. I mean, they were just wrong about the Biden-Harris administration. I mean, the way I described that the Biden-Harris administration, to just about everything that they did, and I mean everything, with the exception of access to abortion, they have lowered the bar. They have lowered the bar for Americans. And Americans, man, again, I've been born and raised out in the middle of nowhere. All the times I travel to, man, Americans always shoot for the top, man. You look at the Olympics, you look at guy Brandon, world champion. Brandon, you didn't go to these MMA fights for second place, man. You wanted to win. You wanted to win. You wanted the best of what you did. And that's the part of the confidence factor that I think is very important, that Americans want to get back to the top again. And I don't say it so we can boast and brag about it, but I say it so that we can live better lives, right? And we can't live a better life when Rocky Man up north is strutting his big fat tummy around, trying to shoot rockets that lamely and limply fall into the sea just before Japan, right? Donald Trump will probably, if he thinks the Rocket Man is acting a little bit too much or out of whack, he's just going to roll up in there, say, "I'm coming over."
Yeah.
And, they're going to shake hands, say, "Stop," because Donald Trump's message is this. He talks about peace through prosperity. He wants everybody to do well, right? Including China, America, Iran, all these guys. But there's ways we can do it. And there's ways that he believes he can do it. And I think he's going to be very, very, very successful in this term, this 2.0.
Excellent.
I'm excited for it.
B,
Yep.
doesn't Chief make you want to stand up, grab the flag, and maybe sing the anthem, right?
Run around outside during typhoon.
Absolutely, bro.
But you know what? We don't sing the national anthem. We don't. Dude, when I was a kid growing up, two things. Every morning you raise the flag, right? And you pledge allegiance. Number one, I told you this before. If that flag looked like it's going to touch the ground, bro, you saw 800 elementary school kids run to grab that flag before it hit the ground. You guys remember this? I did that because it was we had respected the flag, right? It meant something. Number one. Number two, we don't say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. I said it about almost my entire elementary for sure, middle school for sure, high school. FD were kind of knuckleheads. We didn't really, although we did do that on occasion. The Pledge of Allegiance, what we're not okay, no more, sure. And look where it's gotten us. Oh, Frank, the country doesn't need that, and we need to, allow for other voices. Yeah, sure. But we still have to focus on what got us to be number one in the world. And since we've gone down that path, the non-I pledge allegiance path, the burning of the flag path, look where it's gotten us, man. We've lowered the bar, and we're like the laughing stock right now. And that's why Donald Trump's MAGA, Make America Great Again, that's it all. It's all about this whole thing that we're talking about.
Chief, you're going to be happy because Kuya's school, students at MCS still do that religiously.
Wonderful.
Every day. We do it every day.
Single day.
Every single day.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Do all the Catholic schools, we have a lot of Catholic schools and charter schools. I don't think the DOE schools do that, right? The Department of Education schools do that anymore, do they? I'm going to find out. out.
That's a
I'm
great
going to ask
question,
around.
Chief.
I'm going to ask around. Yeah.
I just know that when I was teaching at Mount Carmel,
I'll report on that.
when I was teaching at Mount Carmel, when I was the principal there, and B is there, and they're in such great care under Brandon Vera and Jessica Vera and Atreyu, standing on the side, participating and helping. But seriously, yeah, Mount Carmel Mike's had made sure that Pledge of Allegiance, national anthem, tomorrow, even the Inifresi.
Yep.
Did it all all the time, every day.
And then if the weather's bad and it's raining, the students will do that in their homeroom.
Homeroom, yeah. Yeah,
So, yes, sir.
Yeah, those kids are going to come out of that school very respectful and very prideful. At a minimum.
Yes,
minimum.
Sir. Yes,
Absolutely.
sir. Yes,
Gentlemen,
sir.
what a beautiful show. Thank you both so much. Brandon, the Truth Vera, Chief Frank Arriola, Kyle Hogug, our production genius. For VERAfied Podcast, I'm John Mafnas. Want to say Merry Christmas. Guys, I think we are doing our Christmas episode in about 7 to 10 days. I'll talk to Kyle about this, but at least for now, wishing everybody just an absolute wonderful Christmas. Gentlemen, you are just the purveyors of truth.
Thank you, Quick.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Quick. We'll see you guys soon.
You guys are amazing. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.
Oh.